Robin Williams and Barry Levinson were sitting with the crew at lunchtime. And as usual, there was a great deal of laughter, which Robin usually caused. On this particular occasion, though, it was one of the crew members, a Scot, who was entertaining everyone with his experiences from the night before. But it wasn't another bizarre sex act from the Pat Bong girls he'd witnessed. He'd seen a transsexual middle-aged Thai singing just like Judy Garland. And she was very good, apparently, and a real character. "Oh, we've got to get him in the movie," Barry said. So my next mission was to find him or her. I scoured the gay bars, and in the beginning, actors like the lovely Bruno Kirby would accompany me, but understandably soon lost interest. Judy was very elusive. I met beautiful gatois, the Thai name for very effeminate men or transgender women. In Thai society, gatois are considered to belong to a third gender alongside male and female. It was often difficult to distinguish male from female because of their delicate features. A crew member's young nephew, let's call him Gary, who was visiting from England, soon found that out when he took a Thai girl back to his hotel. He discovered that even though she had lovely breasts, she still retained her penis. Instead of being angry or disgusted and throwing her out, Gary, who was heterosexual, wanted to know more about her. So they talked and became friends. Of course, I knew nothing of this until he heard of my search. Gary told me that his new friend could sing and took me along to a bar to meet her. I was surprised that she was a lot older than I expected, and I did think that perhaps she was Judy, but it wasn't so, and she'd never heard of anyone like that in Pat Bong. She told me how painful it was, psychologically and physically, to be half man, half woman. She had saved money for breast implants, but couldn't afford the operation that would make her transformation to a woman complete. I had great respect for Gary, that he not only had such compassion for his new friend, but also had the courage to introduce her to me. No one else knew who she really was. It was our secret. I went as far as the beach area of Pattaya, where I was given a tip that Judy Garland was appearing in a gay club there. I saw gorgeous topless girls, gatois, dancing and singing, but Judy never appeared. I met the 8 girls after the show, and they gave me a group photo, showing off the exposed part of their bodies they loved the most. They had no idea who the singer was, and I began thinking that Thai Judy was a figment of the Scots' drunken imagination. It was the 5th night, and I was sitting in a gay club on a back street in Pat Bong, witnessing an extremely offensive act on stage. That's when I decided I'd had enough of searching for Judy. There was also something very weird about this very proper English woman, that would be me, visiting these questionable establishments alone, and then presenting my business card with the Disney logo of Mickey Mouse on it. Pat Bong and Mickey Mouse didn't seem to go together, and I was sure that Walt Disney was rolling over in his grave. I then learned from extras on our film, who were also working nights on another film in town, Off Limits, starring Gregory Hines and Willem Dafoe, that there was a drag queen singing in that movie. I never found out whether this was Judy Garland, but I told Barry that I was done looking. Besides, why would you want to have the same character in our movie? I told him. Okay then, he said, rather reluctantly. I have several more stories which will appear in my book, but I feel it's time to bring my Good Morning Vietnam experiences to a close. We completed the movie, or wrapped it, after 10 weeks of filming, and of course had a wrap party for the cast and crew, which was held in the Hilton Ballroom. Delicious Thai finger food was served, drink was flowing, and there was a fabulous band playing Vietnam-era music from the 60s and 70s. I love the music from that period, so I spent a lot of time on the dance floor. It was a great party, and I was exhausted when I eventually got into bed. When I woke up the next morning, I couldn't move. I was in pain from head to toe and scared. I called the first aid guy who worked on the film, but because I couldn't move, I had to ask the front desk to let him into my room. He tried to get me out of bed, but it was just too painful for me. He made a phone call to an American doctor and explained the situation. Soon the doctor arrived with a syringe of something, muscle relaxant of some kind, I suppose, which he injected into my back. This enabled me to at least move a little. The doctor said I must have danced too much the night before, but I knew exactly what had happened. On the first day of filming Good Morning Vietnam, I decided to have a bath at 4 a.m. so that I would be totally relaxed before starting what I knew would be a long and hectic day. I sank into bubbles I'd made from the tiny bottles of shampoo always provided by the Hilton Hotel, and it felt wonderful. After about 10 minutes, I got out of the bath, slipped, and fell backwards, hitting my head on the tub. "No!" I yelled. Then as I struggled to get up, my internal voice took over. "This is not happening. I'm perfectly fine. My body is whole and complete. I am strong, and I will overcome this." I think I said a few more affirmations, along with a couple of expletives, but decided then and there that I was not going to let anything interfere with the next 10 weeks of filming and the work I had to do. With the power of my mind, I literally blocked the pain and discomfort. I did have a few Thai massages during this period, the type of massage where a woman walked and knelt on my back as I lay on the floor. It was excruciating, but I never took any painkillers. I didn't let anyone know what had happened to me, apart from the 2 hunky trainers at the hotel gym. They suggested gentle exercises and also recommended seeing a chiropractor. Unfortunately, they didn't know one in Bangkok, but there were good chiropractors in Singapore and Hong Kong. A bit far away for me, and I decided to grit my teeth and deal with it. I was probably sleeping on average 5 hours a night, sometimes less, but strangely never felt tired. I know this was because the film work was very exhilarating. Every day was different and had its challenges, and my adrenaline was constantly pumping. I guess you could say that I was in the zone. I'd also controlled my mind during the weeks of filming and literally blocked out the pain. Now that it was all over, it was almost as if my mind had given a message to my body that it was time to let go. And it did, in a big way. I'd planned to fly to Bali for a 3-week vacation, and since Singapore was on the way to Bali, I got the name of an American chiropractor from the gym trainers, called her, and made an appointment. According to the chiropractor, my back had been thrown way out of alignment, as she put it, and I'd need 5 major adjustments to get it right. Then it would take a few more days after that to settle down. For 5 days, I was strapped into a piece of machinery, tipped upside down and stretched. Then the chiropractor manipulated and massaged my back, rubbing in tiger balm lotion, before I was able to hobble back to my hotel close by. Once there, I'd lie face down on the floor of my room with ice packs covering my low back. That's pretty much all I saw of Singapore, the hotel's red patterned carpet, except that I was determined to go to the famous Raffles Hotel and have a Singapore sling, a drink that Raffles is known for. I didn't much care for it. It was very sweet, but the hotel was beautiful. After my 5th treatment, the chiropractor handed me a small jar of tiger balm, said I was okay to fly to Bali, and assured me that I would be pain-free in 5 days' time. Another 5 days? Well, guess what? Even though I was in agony for those next 5 days, and it didn't help that I was on the back of a motorbike bumping along rough Balinese country roads, as the chiropractor had predicted, on the 10th day after my initial treatment, I was pain-free. Now, was this the power of my mind accepting the chiropractor's prediction, just as I'd controlled my mind to ignore the pain from my fall? The truth is, until we're faced with a challenging situation, I don't think we can possibly know just how powerful the mind-body connection is. I also believe it's a relationship that we must trust and respect. Next time, investing in a cafe in Bali and escaping to a remote island. If you're enjoying my episodes, my social media guru, Horatio, has asked that you please like the recordings, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when I post my next episode on Sunday. Many thanks, and your support is greatly appreciated.